Every new dollar that is printed by central banks steals value from the ones that are already circulating. The banks are the ones that profit off your deposits. The inflation eats all of your effort alive, and it's the same system that rewards consumption and punishes discipline. Why people are still clinging to fiat even when the data is slapping them in the face. Your bank is not your friend, and it profits from your ignorance. It loans out your deposits 10 times over. Fear does not come from Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. It comes from... Welcome to Rich and Regulated, where women learn to build wealth in alignment and flow. I'm Jessica Soul. For over a decade, I've helped women create the lives of their dreams, and here I'll share how I build wealth, fast-track results, and reveal money truths that will blow your mind. Let's get wealthy. All right, so if you are listening right now, I want you to grab a pen and paper because what I'm about to walk you through is probably going to sting a little, but at the same time, it is going to set you free. So here's what I know to be true. 5 years ago, if you had parked $10,000 into a savings account inside of a central bank, you probably felt like you were doing the responsible thing, right? Being safe, conservative, being mature, saving your money. But in 2025, that same $10,000 is going to buy you so much less of everything you desire. Less food, less freedom, less peace. And it's not because you were not working hard. It's because fiat currency is decaying right before your eyes. Now, if you don't understand what I mean by fiat, fiat is the money that's sitting in your bank, and it is inflationary by design. What that means is that more of it can be printed at any time. Every new dollar that is printed by central banks steals value from the ones that are already circulating. So it's not wealth, it's actually a slow leak of your money. Now, the thing is that governments print to fix symptoms of broken systems. So the words like stimulus, relief, support, they're all just fancy words, but every time they print money, your savings is going to bleed. So while your account balance might look the same, the purchasing power behind the number in your bank has quietly fallen. So let's look at the everyday truth of this. All right, something as simple as the price of eggs in Australia is up by 18.6% in the last year. And this affects me because as a family, we probably consume about 4 cartons of organic eggs a week. The electricity prices rising between 8 to 35% depending on where you live in Australia. And petrol has gone from around $1.40 a litre in 2019 and is now pushing anywhere between $1.80 to $2 a litre. And don't even get me started on rent, right? So rent in major cities is up more than 27% since 2020. And this, guys, is not a minor inconvenience. This is a system that is failing you. And yet people still call cash safe. And it is safe from what? I'm just wondering. The banks are the ones that profit off your deposits. The inflation eats all of your effort alive, and it's the same system that rewards consumption and punishes discipline. And so I want to say this really clearly so that you guys understand. And again, I know this is going to sting, but fiat money is not safety. Fiat is a slow motion exit from sovereignty. Now, I know this all sounds a little negative, so let's flip the script and have a look at where it gets exciting. Bitcoin is the opposite of that. Cryptocurrency is literally finite. So today I'm going to use Bitcoin as a major example because most people are familiar with it. But when it comes to Bitcoin, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. No central bank, no printing press, no politician pressing a button to add liquidity. Bitcoin is definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme, but it is a savings technology. It's a digital form of discipline, and it's where you can store the energy of your work in something that cannot be inflated away. Now let's have a look at some numbers. So between 2020 and 2025, Bitcoin rose by more than 14x. So that is over 1400% growth. So if you had put 10,000 US dollars into Bitcoin in 2020 and done nothing, just simply held it in your wallet, it would now be worth around 150,000 US dollars. Meanwhile, at the same time, if you had left that $10,000 in fiat, and by fiat I mean in a central bank, even considering a modest 3 to 5% inflation, that 10,000 would now be worth between $7,000 and $9,000 in purchasing power. And I don't know about you, but that is so, so scary. The fact is, guys, putting money into Bitcoin is not about luck. This is about literacy. This is understanding what you need to learn in 2025 and beyond. And here's the psychology behind it. Why people are still clinging to fiat, even when the data is slapping them in the face, is that from the time we were children, we were taught to trust authority. Trust the bank, trust the government, get a safe job, save your money, buy a house, retire at 65. I don't know about you, but that system is not working for people these days. You know, we were told that stability lives in systems. We were not told and taught self-responsibility and critical thinking. The banks taught us, and I don't know about you, but you may, if you're as old as me, had a Dolomite account, and the banks taught us to save hard and then to go into debt. And that was a normal thing we should do, that a mortgage is an achievement, that a savings account is a plan to create wealth. But here's what they didn't tell you, is that those systems were never built to set you free. They were built to make you a predictable human. And what that means is that when you are predictable to the banking system, you are profitable for them. Something a lot of people do not think about. And that is why people still fear when they hear the word crypto, because stepping out of the system means that you are going to have to take responsibility instead of handing it over to a central bank. It means learning how to move money, learning how to hold your Bitcoin, learning how to think for yourself. I know that for many people in my world, it is so much easier to believe the illusion, and it is so much easier just to hand your power over and say, you know what, I can rely on a banking system. The government will fix the problems. The policies will change. But I know that deep down, you probably do know the truth, and you do know that there are better options out there for you. And here's what people need to understand. Fear does not come from Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. It comes from conditioning. It comes from years of being told that wealth is complicated, that money is dangerous, that control is someone else's job. But if you're listening to this, you know that quiet nudge that says the system is flawed, you're not crazy. The system is 100% flawed and it is not working in your favor. Just quickly, guys, if you're a woman who's earning well but still feels like your money isn't working for you, I can help. My Build Your Wealth portal is the perfect place to begin, and for less than $100 a month, I'll teach you the exact groundwork that has allowed me to create freedom for my family. Just hit the link in the show notes to connect into my community today. Now back to the episode. Now, at the moment, Bitcoin isn't just new money, it's honest money, and it's not as volatile as people think. It's actually revealing the volatility of everything else that's around you. So when people say it's too risky, I say risky compared to what? A 40-year mortgage, a lifetime of inflation, watching your savings lose value every single year while your bank is thanking you with a 2% interest rate and a smile. And you know what's really risky? It's pretending that the current system is going to save you, because it is absolutely not. Now, here's the thing. Bitcoin is not just for techie people. It is literally for families. It is for mothers, fathers, builders, creatives. It's for anyone who has realized that saving fiat is like trying to fill a bucket with holes in the bottom. And when you use Bitcoin as a savings technology, you're not saying, I don't believe in money. You're saying, I believe in value. So when it comes to holding Bitcoin, what you can do is actually just sell part of your Bitcoin when you need to pay your bills. It's just like having a savings account, but your savings is in Bitcoin. So treat it as a digital reserve because that's actually what it is. And the thing about that is instead of playing the defense all the time, you start playing long-term offense. And I know that sounds really simple, but the beautiful thing is it actually is that simple. It's just that we haven't become used to the terminology and the technology of cryptocurrency just yet. So here's a few things that I want you to start really framing for yourself, how you can get ahead, because at the moment, you've actually got to be quite aggressive if you want to create wealth for your family. Number one, you need to stop spending so much. Spend less than what you earn and save into something that is scarce. So something that has a finite amount. Create a financial cushion before you chase status. And this is something that a lot of people do not do and do not take seriously. So a financial cushion basically means that you have saved around about 3 to 6 months worth of income so that if anything happens, you feel secure. Now, what I see most people doing in this day and age is instead of creating financial cushions, they create outward proof of wealth, beautiful clothes, nice handbags, amazing cars, yet inside, internally, their nervous system is screwed up because they do not feel safe. And I can tell you that when you have a financial cushion between 3 to 6 months of income sitting in a place where that money is growing while you sleep, you are becoming richer than 92% of the world. Because while everyone else is trying to look rich, you're actually becoming free. I think what's happening in this day and age, and this is just my opinion and my observation, but I'm going to say it to you really directly, is that a lot of people believe that they're entitled to luxuries that they absolutely haven't earned, right? Like they literally think that they should be able to drive these incredible cars, prance around with all of these beautiful designer clothing on, but they haven't earned the right to have that kind of wealth just yet. So what I want to ask you is think about it this way. Instead of trading your long-term power for the illusion of short-term success, I want you to flip that on its head. Because trying to keep up with the Joneses is not a strategy for wealth, it is a death sentence. So for me, I've made the choice to spend a lot less these days than I make. I save and allocate incredibly aggressively. And what I mean by that is I work with systems where I aim to save at least 50% of what I earn. And for a lot of people, that sounds pretty crazy, but I have worked that up over a 10-year period. And trust me, the freedom that comes when you know that you are allocating that aggressively is unmatched. I personally use Bitcoin and decentralized finance not because I'm chasing hype, but because I'm chasing freedom, and I've chosen to stop saving paper, saving invisible money, and start saving power instead. The truth is your bank is not your friend and it profits from your ignorance. It loans out your deposits 10 times over. It pays you scraps in return, and it still has the audacity to call you a valued customer. Yet the real power is not in the system, it is in your literacy and your self-responsibility. When you start seeing money differently, you start behaving differently. You become intentional with the way you spend because you literally see how you can multiply money while you sleep, and it becomes so freaking exciting. Your body becomes regulated. You start to explore the decentralized space. You stop waiting for permission. You stop with the victimhood mentality and you start designing your own autonomous levels of security. And here's the reality, guys. We are standing in the biggest wealth transfer of our lifetime, and the divide between the rich and the poor is widening. There are people building freedom and wealth like it is nobody's business. And then there are people that are still buying into distraction. And for me, I want to be one of those people that is building freedom that's not loud, not flashy, but quietly stacking value while everyone else is scrolling Instagram, spending money, and in survival mode. You see, the thing is, real wealth isn't loud. Real wealth is inner peace. And so, if you take nothing else from this episode, take this, understand this to the core. Fiat is not your safety net. Bitcoin is not your enemy. Fiat is dead money. It's a system built on debt. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is living value and a system built on truth. And you don't need to go all in overnight. What I want you to know is that starting small and staying consistent is the key to creating exponential wealth over time. You know, you've got to learn how to hold it. You've got to learn how to safely secure that money. You've got to learn how to sell it when needed and never sell it from fear. The truth is that wealth these days doesn't come from hustle. It actually comes from a different type of energy that's directed, protected, and multiplied. You know, stop saving paper and start saving in power, because I can tell you that the next decade will belong to those who understand this sentence. Fiat money is dead and Bitcoin is your new savings weapon. If you've gotten value from today's episode, make sure you subscribe and leave a 5-star review. And if you're ready for more support in building regulated wealth strategies, check out the link in the show notes. Have a beautiful day.